When these mass murderers kill people and then take their own life, it doesn't fit the crime. Unfortunately, by the time they've done their deed and commit suicide, it's too late. We can't catch them. But what if we did? It will be glorious if we did. Let's take Mr. Adam P. Lanza, for example. This is the individual who killed 20 children in Newton, Connecticut on December 14th, 2012. After the fact, the media claimed he had mental issues. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I don't really give a shit what his mental status was, because I don't see people with mental issues killing children every day. Therefore, the mental issue goes out the window. With that said, let's pretend for 1 second, just one sweet second, that we caught this son of a bitch. Yes, his mom was a bitch for raising a psycho. Now, let's say he's in prison right now as you are listening to this, and preparing to face a judge and go through a trial, which won't be speedy at all. They never are. And let's say he's convicted of all counts. Usually they are sentenced to death, life in prison, or some cushy mental facility. It's always one of the big three. They never do any time, any real time. Now here's where I want to stop and let you know exactly how the punishment should actually fit his crime. I don't know about you, but death, life in prison, or life in a mental institution where people pretend to be Edward Norton in Primal Fear just won't do it for me. His punishment should consist of 3 simple stages that he will have to endure every single day for the rest of his natural life. Here we are. The first stage. He gets to wherever he goes to. In this case, it will be a torture chamber. Yes, he will be inside a torture chamber. Let him get comfortable his first week and feed him, give him clean iron clothes, let him watch TV, interact with family, phone calls, sleep, read, go out to the patio, exercise, porn, internet. Hell, get a prostitute in there, let him fuck her a few times, no problem. The first week, playground. Let him feel safe and sane, entertained. Make him think that this is how it's going to be forever. But now let's go to stage 2. I like stage 2. The second stage. First off, there are some materials that will be needed for this stage. You will need a guard or an inmate. Whichever it is, you will have to be a sociopath. If you choose an inmate, you will need 2 guards to watch the inmate. You will need water, 1 5-gallon bucket, a walk-in refrigerator or a cooler, change of clothes, clean and dry bed sheets, 3 adult-sized towels, 1 industrial space heater, cold prevention medicine, and 1 glass of water. Now, as soon as it hits 12:01 a.m. on Monday of the second week he's in the chamber, the 5-gallon bucket of almost frozen water should be taken out of the freezer or cooler, where it's been sitting at exactly 31 degrees. We will get an extremely sociopathic inmate or guard, and if it's the inmate, you need 2 additional guards to watch the inmate to do the rest of the steps. We will take the bucket to Mr. Adams' cell. We will leave it outside of the cell. We will go in the cell. This is the inmate or the sociopathic guard. Be careful not to wake Mr. Adam up. Make sure he stays asleep, dreaming. We place a change of clothes, dry sheets, and 3 adult-sized towels on a top shelf away from the bed. We proceed to pick up the bucket of water. and empty the bucket of water on Mr. Adam. Make sure we have to make sure we get his entire body all in one swoop. Then we place the space heater inside the room, connected to an AC plug-in outside of the cell, and turn it on. Make sure the cell gets heated as soon as he gets wet. We'll order Mr. Adams to use the towels to dry himself up, change clothes, and change the bed sheets so he can have dry bed sheets. Finally, we'll hand him a glass of water with water in it with the anti-cold medicine. It's better to blend it with water and not to give him a pill, because he might not swallow it. And then we monitor him while all this is occurring. We don't want him to die. You see, that's the point. We want to make sure he suffers. That's the key here. Not death. Make sure he suffers. That was the second stage. Let's proceed to the third stage. The final stage is the stage of continuum. Only death can stop it. And we will make damn sure Mr. Adams doesn't die. At this stage, we will proceed to keep him as sleep deprived as possible for the rest of his life. When Mr. Adams goes back to his room, we will monitor him. As soon as we see that he's trying to fall asleep, we will let him sleep for 2 hours and then proceed to stage 2. He will obviously wake up as soon as the stage 2 begins. He will eventually try to go to sleep again, and again we will let him sleep for 2 hours and proceed to stage 2 again. You see, stage 2 and 3 are never ending for these monsters. We will monitor Mr. Adams, and if we have to let him sleep a little more, maybe 3 hours, but still keep him in a sleep deprived stage, we will, to make sure it doesn't affect his health tremendously. Once again, just want to remind you, we want to make sure these son of a bitches don't die. They need to stay alive. We have to keep them nice and healthy so they can keep suffering. Did I've mentioned it too many times now. So now let me explain, just as a closing to this, short closing. Stealing candy from a store, getting in a fight, hell, robbing a damn bank. In my book, they're all acceptable. As long as no one dies, no one gets hurt. Hey, you want your money, go to a bank, rob the shit, get out. But when it comes to heinous crimes, like killing elementary school age children, let me go ahead and say that again. Elementary school age children. We're talking 6 years old, 7, 8, 9. Also pedophilia based crimes. Pedophiles should go through the same type of punishment. It's slightly different. I'm going to talk about that in another section. I do not believe that prison is enough for these people. Prison, death penalty, mental facilities, mass murderers, pedophiles, etc. Those types of facilities are not made for those people. Those people cannot be rehabilitated. There has to be a stage where continuous suffering exists. And the 3 stages I gave to you, specifically for mass murderers, are the stages that should be in place and would be in place if I was running this country. Now, some people say the following: oh, but then we become just like them. Well, son of a bitch, I do not go out and harm people because I feel like it. I do not take my gun and go to a school, a playground, or my neighbor and start shooting kids. So no, in my book, I will never be like these monsters. And retribution towards heinous criminals has been long overdue in this country, in this society, and in this age. Goodbye, motherfuckers.